The doctor left his own dying son and rushed to his mistress's child instead. During the chaos after kindergarten poisoning, the woman begged her husband, the hospital's best surgeon, to save their son who was having a heart attack. But when the doctor heard the school's name, he knew his mistress's daughter was there too. He didn't hesitate to turn his back on his own son. He coldly told his wife that all patients were equal to a doctor and he had to help the other child. He promised to come back, leaving his wife to watch in horror as their son was taken for treatment. While the boy fought for his life in the ER, his father was in a private room, holding his mistress and her daughter's hands. The wife called him again and again, but he got angry and brushed her off, telling her not to bother him with a patient. He then promised his mistress he would stay and look after them. The ER doctors were losing hope, saying only her husband had the skill to save the boy, but he was missing. Soon after, the doctor came out and told her to see her son one last time. With his last breath, the boy apologized to his mother and wished for a different dad in his next life before his heart monitor went flat. Full of grief and rage, the woman charged into the private hospital room and found her husband comforting his mistress. The other woman shamelessly offered her a piece of fruit. The husband defended himself, saying the other child was also in danger. When his wife screamed that their son was dead, he casually said he'd make it up to him later by taking him to the aquarium. She told him there was no later. In a final cruel move, the doctor told his wife his wallet was empty and ordered her to pay his mistress's hospital bill. He then looked her in the eyes and said they should get a divorce. The doctor demanded his wife give up their son's heart for his mistress. After abandoning his own son on the boy's birthday, he showed up not to apologize, but with a heart transplant consent form. He explained that his mistress had a serious heart problem and really needed the transplant. The woman was shocked. He insisted their son was stable, while his mistress couldn't wait. He then ordered her to sign the papers and leave. When she refused, he showed his true reason. The hospital funding from her father had just been cut, threatening his promotion. He yelled at her for being selfish and ruining his career. Just then, his mistress and her daughter walked into the house using a key he gave them. The mistress, claiming to be a good person, tried to talk to the wife, while the doctor held her down and forced a pen into her hand. That's when she found her family's heirloom bracelet broken in the mistress's jewelry box. The little girl then admitted the truth that her mother wasn't sick at all. She said the doctor had spent the night with them and her mother told her to fake being sick. The mistress then admitted she had been living in the house for a while and teased the wife, asking if she was surprised. The wife then understood how deep his betrayal was. He didn't just choose another woman. He was ready to sacrifice his own son's life for a lie. At the funeral, while his wife mourned, the doctor was laughing and playing with his new family, ignoring the urgent calls from the funeral home. His son's last words, wishing for a new father next life, played in his mind. Hit by sudden guilt, he rushed to the funeral, arriving just as it ended. His wife met his pleas with a cold slap and told him their son was killed by his lies. He broke down, seeing he had lost everything. Just then, his wife's lawyer showed up, handing him divorce papers and an eviction notice, taking his home, career, and family away in one crushing blow. The woman angrily dragged her husband's mistress across the floor and forced her to kneel before her dead son's memorial. Her husband ran to protect his lover, but the wife screamed he was with this woman at an amusement park while their son was dying. She slapped him hard and said he didn't deserve to be the child's father. Even as he begged to let the past go, she refused, grabbing the mistress by the neck and slamming her head down. The husband threatened to call the police, but the wife just laughed hysterically, her heart totally broken. In front of everyone, she forced them both to their knees to apologize for their sins before he finally carried his hurt mistress away. The next day at the office, she bragged to her coworkers about her rich fiancé and promised them all fancy bags. Suddenly, her assistant said, "A billionaire CEO. Mr. Assistant, a billionaire CEO. Mr. Assistant." Chen had asked for her personally for a $300 million deal. She was told the CEO was recently divorced and had taken a special liking to her. Seeing her chance to catch a billionaire, she went to the meeting room, changed into sexy underwear, and got ready to close the deal her way. Only then did she see it was all a trap. The grieving wife had hired a hacker to livestream the whole thing online. At the office, her coworkers watched in horror as the video popped up on their phones, showing her trying to seduce an old, bald man. The video spread to the hospital where her fiancé worked. He grabbed a nurse's phone and his face froze as he watched his beloved with another man. In the hotel room, the man said he wasn't a CEO at all, but a broke actor paid $3,000 to play the part and embarrass her. The mistress finally understood she had been completely ruined. The boss stormed into the office, yelling that the mistress had made the company a joke. He said the whole company had seen the uncensored livestream of her with the bald man and fired her on the spot. Humiliated, she was thrown into the lobby by security. Right then, her fiancé arrived. She immediately started crying, saying she had been set up. He believed her right away, blaming the video on an AI deepfake and vowing to make the wife pay for the trap. While the mistress played the victim, the grieving wife was in a park desperately trying to see her son. But the boy's new guardian shoved her to the ground and walked off, warning the child the strange woman was pitiful because she lost her own son. Her fiancé then found her and angrily accused her of framing his innocent lover. He said the mistress was a good girl who would never sell her soul for money. But the wife told the truth. The mistress was his first love, and he had been paying for her car and house with his credit card. She screamed. He was with his lover the whole night. Their son lay dying in the hospital. He tried to explain their relationship was innocent, but just then he got a frantic call that his mistress was trying to kill herself. As he ran off to save her, the wife swore she would never forgive them. The doctor rushed to his lover's bedside, mad that she had tried to kill herself. Crying, she said her life was over now that everyone believed the video's lies. But he swore to protect her, saying he now had proof the video was a deep fake made by his vengeful wife. The two hugged, but just then a nurse came in, asking for payment for the $53,000 hospital bill. He tried to pay, but his credit card was declined. The nurse smugly told him the card owned by his wife had been frozen. Suddenly, the hospital director came and fired him for taking bribes and doing surgeries for his mistress, leaving him totally ruined. Back at the mistress's apartment, a lawyer served her an eviction notice and demanded she pay back every cent the wife's husband ever spent on her, or face years in prison. The mistress collapsed, completely broken. Meanwhile, the wife was at home celebrating her son's birthday. Her husband stormed in and yelled at her, furious she had ruined his career and his mistress. He still didn't know it was his son's birthday, only that his life was destroyed. Holding a picture of their son, he broke down and begged her to forgive him and start over. But it was too late. She handed him divorce papers, ending their marriage and leaving him with nothing. With her husband defending his mistress, the wife tried to block his way, screaming he only had that woman in his heart. He insisted the other woman, Jing, was pitiful, jobless, and had a weak heart. But the wife knew these were just lies. Just then, his phone rang with news that Jing was on a rooftop, threatening to jump. The wife grabbed him, her voice breaking as she reminded him of their dead son, Xing, and asked if he felt any guilt at all. Ignoring her tears, he promised to handle the emergency and rushed out. He got to the hospital to find Jing on the ledge, crying that their son's death was all her fault. The next second, she pretended to fall and he jumped forward to save her, pulling her into a hug. But their act was cut short when a little girl ran out, calling Jing mommy, followed by the wife, who had just arrived. She stared coldly at them, saying Jing was putting on a pathetic show and offered to help push her off. When her husband called her heartless, she finally told the whole devastating truth to the crowd. He wasn't just her husband, he was the doctor who let their own son die on the operating table because he was late saving his mistress's daughter. The other patients were horrified, calling him a monster. The wife pointed at them both, publicly shaming them as the cheaters who caused her son's death. As he carried his fainting mistress through the angry crowd, a reporter came up to the wife, ready to broadcast the scandal to the world. The wife's public exposure of her cheating husband and his mistress went viral, but what came next was even worse. While she was talking to the press, he was comforting his mistress, Jing, promising to divorce his wife and sell his own house to pay back the money she owed. He vowed they would be together no matter what. He didn't know his wife was a step ahead, telling her lawyer their debt wasn't money, but her son's life. The interview sparked a furious mob of online vigilantes who stormed Jing's apartment, yelling, "Homewrecker," as they dragged her out and beat her in the hall. The husband rushed to her side, finding her bruised and scared on the floor. He held her, whispering he had divorced his wife and she wouldn't bother them anymore. Meanwhile, the wife got a shocking reveal from her assistant. A medical report proving Jing never had a heart problem and had sold the donated heart meant for their son for $80 million. Just as she took in this devastating news, her husband burst in, calling her a vicious liar for slandering Jing. He threw the signed divorce papers at her, saying they were done. While he was passionately kissing his mistress, celebrating their freedom, they were interrupted by loud banging at the door. It was the landlord with movers, saying the house had been sold and they were being kicked out. The husband, confused, said he was the owner, only to be told his own house had also been sold, leaving both him and his mistress completely homeless. Kicked out of their apartment by an angry landlord, the man and his mistress were thrown onto the street with their luggage. As they stood humiliated, a luxury car pulled up, and the wife he left stepped out, her voice icy cold. He demanded to know what she was doing, and she smiled coldly, revealing she had just bought the whole neighborhood and would have them kicked out of any place they dared to rent. But her revenge was interrupted when the mistress's little girl pointed at her and screamed she was a bad woman who should die. The wife's cold look finally cracked. Forced into a dirty, rundown room, the mistress complained about the smell, while her daughter whined she couldn't live in such a place. With no job and no money, the man begged his mistress for her savings, but she lied, saying she had nothing left. Just as he sank into despair, her phone rang. It was the hospital. A patient had died because of his malpractice, and the family wanted $800,000 in compensation. In a panic, she hung up and started packing right away, telling her daughter they had to leave. Before they could escape, the man stumbled through the door, his clothes covered in blood. He collapsed, crying that his life was over, and begged her for the money. That's when he heard her daughter say the words that destroyed his world. The daughter suggested they could find another heart for $80,000. adding that last time, Brother Singh Shing's heart sold for 800,000. The blood drained from his face as he realized the truth. The donated heart meant for his dead son had been stolen and sold by the very woman he had ruined his life for.